Do you think the issue over the GERD is more of a diplomatic and political issue than the economic issue over the three parties?
No, for Ethiopia it's an economic issue. We live in poverty. We have more than 70 million people without electricity. Our economic water that is available water, managed through infrastructure is very, very limited. As a result, we are in a poor country. So we have to use our resource to generate this kind of dependable electricity and supply to our industries, our agro industries, to our service sector, to our industrializations, our manufacturing, agro-processing, and so on. Benefit, or every economic sector benefit from the generation of this dependable energy. So for Ethiopia, the primary objective is economic, socio-economic transformation and development. We cannot remain in this kind of poverty where, hundreds of thousands of youths from Ethiopia are migrating. Many people became desperate because of lack of job. How do you create in this kind of country without having this kind of basis for economy? Energy is fundamental. We have very limited energy. The access is very, very low, 33% only in the grid system. So in many places it's also interrupting. So effectively it's a very low level what we are supplying. So in order to really make big development, we need our hydro potential to be developed and other renewable energy to be developed. So in fact, Blue Nile is one of the biggest energy potential in Africa. It's second to Congo River. It has a potential up to 15,000 megawatt, very significant potential. So we are tapping into the first 5 to 6 megawatt, 1,000 megawatt energy.
Maybe is that a concern for the Egyptian as this project is successful? Maybe some other countries, including Ethiopia, might try another project like this on the Blue Nile. Do you think it's a threat?
It's not a threat. GERD is an opportunity. It's an opportunity because it has a lot of multiplier factor. On Ethiopia's side, it's an economic benefit, but if you take it in the region, for example, energy that is generated in GERD, which is relatively cheap, can be actually sold in the neighboring countries, Sudan, even up to Egypt, also to the South Sudan, up to Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and so on, already connected to Djibouti and Sudan. That is, the hydro advantage is you can make it on and off in a short interval of time. But other type of renewable energy like solar or wind are weather dependent. If it is night, there is no solar energy. If there is no wind, there is no wind energy. But hydropower in the dams actually regulated, and the valves can be put on and off in a matter of minutes, short minutes, less than 5 minutes. So therefore, you can load the variable energy into the hydro systems. As a result, number one, it can be integrated into East Africa Power Pool. And number two, it can help other African countries even to generate renewable energy, so that this one is, stabilizing the grid system and stabilizing the mix. By that, a lot of advantage can be actually accrued to the regional development.
Okay, let's talk back to the dam itself now. Brief us on the process and where it is at this time.
You mean the construction or the negotiation? The construction is about 70% complete now. Some components are complete. For example, the shoulder dam, which is about 5.1 kilometer long and 50-meter height, is completed. It's a huge dam. The main dam, which is 145 meter and 1.8 kilometer wide, on the left and right hand side, it's at top level. In the middle, since we are in the process of installing gates, turbines, and conveyance systems, that means electromechanical and steel structure work ongoing. So it's going on very well now. We are hoping that by next rainy season we start storing water. The first year or the first stage storing starts.
So that leads me to my next question about the general power generation. Last time when you explained when the number of turbines decreased by, I think, 3, from 60 to 30, you said the electric power generation would be decreased about 1,300 or something.
It's not like that. Let me explain.
Let me finish my question.
No, because this sends wrong signal, wrong message. That's why I want to explain what it is.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
That means what you are concerned is about the energy generated. Yeah. It's not the number of turbine you put. You see, you can generate energy with one big turbine, with 2 turbines, 3 turbines, 10 turbines, 13 turbines, 16 turbines. So what you are interested is about the total energy generated in a particular year. So the potential of the water that is coming to Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam location has a potential of generating 15,692 gigawatt hour. That is the energy that you can generate from the stored water. Now, with how many turbines you want to generate this, you have to see efficiency. Efficiency means the plant factor at which the plant is generating versus become idle in a particular year. So our turbines are, the 2 early generations are 375 megawatt capacity, and the remaining are 400 megawatt capacity. So using those turbines, if you take a large number of turbines, your plant factor will be very small. That means your efficiency will be small. That means most of the time, in the previous assumption, most of the time the turbines will be idle. More than 70% of the time they will be idle. Do you afford to put those turbines in those places?
Maybe not.
But it's not economical.
Okay, yeah.
Therefore, you have to a little bit push the plant factor, let's say to 35, 40%. That is what we did. This was done more than a year ago, actually. This is not an issue for anybody. For the downstream country, it's not an issue. For Ethiopia, however, you save more than $200 million because you have to put more turbines, more generators, more electrical system, more control systems, more powerhouse, more foundations. Why do you waste money in a poor country? Therefore, it's not a change of price, it's a revision. It was ongoing work, basically. This was supposed to be manufactured by METEC. Then we said, no, it doesn't go that way. We don't want to waste a lot of additional resource.
And the number of turbines?
It's only the number of turbines, that's it, nothing else. All the rest, the total generated energy is the same. Energy is a factor.
What was the initial plan? It was 6,000?
This is basic physics. The whole accumulated energy will be generated, but when it is generated, you have to be efficient. We are not luxurious country. We have to save our resource. Even 35%, which is a new plant factor, is not optimal yet. For example, Gannali Dawa 3, which we are going to inaugurate very soon in February, early February, is, for example, 74% plant factor. So it's beautiful hydro dam. So those are really, really technical issues. Shouldn't be politicized, they shouldn't be even questioned. It's a decision of engineers.
The finalization of the GERD project has taken too long. compared to that, the initial plan of completion. What do you feel as an Ethiopian leader who's leading this team as the whole process takes more than the expected time?
I didn't lead the Ethiopian team for a long time. However, since I came, as a technical minister, I looked at how it is designed, how it is optimized, what is not going very well, what is hindering the project from progressing rapidly. After analyzing those, we made decisions. Those decisions are how to accelerate, for example, the sluggish work or the inappropriate work that was happening, like in the steel structure and electromechanical. We improved on those. Now it is moving fast enough.
Okay, are you concerned about the mobilization like it was in the previous time?
No, this is a phenomenon that could occur with a dam of this magnitude. Sometimes there are issues. For example, at the early stage of the dam construction, when you start to dig into the foundation was a little bit weak. Therefore, we have to dig deep, and it took additional 900 days actually to reach the base rock and then start building the dam from that level. So, as you know, the Blue Nile Gorge at that strip is very narrow and very deep, and some of the formation were not giving you accurate information in terms of geophysical investigation. So you only look at it when you divert the water and start excavating. So when you excavate, if you see relatively weaker foundation, you have to remove and then replace it with competent foundations that can withstand the load. So that took quite a time, and later on the issue of steel work took some time, and therefore those are corrected, and we are now at the hopeful stage.
Okay, back to the regional development issue. Having this genuine intention to develop the water resources the country have, do you think consensus will be reached among the riparian countries over the intention of Ethiopia to develop using its own water in the near future?
Oh yeah, it's a consensus that must be reached. What else? What other choices do we have? Ethiopia is, a landlocked country, going to benefit from the opportunity of oceans and the seas. Other neighboring countries, including Egypt, for example, benefiting from desalination. Desalinated water, the cost of desalination becoming cheap and cheap. That means you take just plenty of water, which is 67% of the world is covered by water. If you have that right technology, which is cheap enough, you just take water from the ocean and make it clean and use it. These days, it is cheaper to desalinate than building a dam. Therefore, the future is very, very bright for everyone, especially for desert countries. They can get a lot of water, they can do whatever they want. Even now, if you take countries like Israel, Egypt, the drinking water supplies in the Delta area in Egypt or in Alexandria and so on is provided through the desalinated water. You see, the ingenuity of human being and technology is solving the world problem. If you take Israel, even it is used for agriculture. Therefore, we shouldn't be that much worried about that. So everybody can benefit from the resource, and the future will prove that we are not in a desperate situation.
So are you optimistic that the upcoming discussion will be fruitful?
I'm always optimistic. If we come together with open hearts, it can be solved in a matter of hours, not even days. So I'm very optimistic. We'll reach a conclusion on the technical issues by the 2 days forthcoming in Addis Ababa. And in fact, you asked me the question of resource use in Africa. Generally, you know, Africa remained in poverty, having a lot of resource. You know, this kind of rivers, if you take Europe, like Danube, Rhine, Mosel, and so on, dams and water utilization and recycling of water is done multiple times. There is one river called Mosel between France and Germany. It is dammed 16 times. Upstream, there is some storage. Then water passes from one storage to the next barrage, generate electricity, to the next, generate electricity, generate. Through 16 cascades. I looked at that when I was a student there. So developed countries have actually exhausted their potential of developing similar type of schemes. But the technology is so matured, hydropower is very attractive actually to be installed anywhere. But African countries have remained behind. So we have to work a lot and support with each other, each country. You know, countries should support through different coordination mechanisms like Regional Economic Bloc or African Union, Economic Commission for Africa, and realize this available, hugely available potential toward this utilization. Congo is having 100,000 megawatt potential that you can really harness. Then comes Nile. Then comes rivers in Guinea, Nigeria, and so on, Cameroon. Even we have, for example, supported Tanzania to look into the Stigler's Gorge Dam, which is now under construction. We shared our experience, went to the site and helped to put together the bid document. Take themselves like the similar to United States of America. This could be United States of Africa. Everywhere where potential and resource is available, whether it is in mineral, water, or agriculture potential, we have to realize and transform our continent. So in this energy equation, East Africa power pool, Africa power pool, South Africa power pool, West Africa power pool should mature and support each other in terms of developing the energy potential and the interlinkage between the countries.
Well, before I wrap up, I just want you to give any kind of message for Ethiopian or Egyptian or other riparian countries, if you have any message to convey at this time.
Well, for Egyptian people, I would like to say, you know, the GERD is a blessing, actually, a blessing dam. Imagine if you don't have Aswan High Dam, you would have liked GERD, even you would have co-invested. But with presence of Aswan High Dam and GERD together, actually the benefit to the downstream farmers will increase, not decrease. The idea of storing water in the GERD in very well measured periods of year will not be transferred to the potential problem to the farmers. Because I hear most of the time, you know, if you reduce 1 billion, X number of farmers will be affected. It's not true. Because there is Aswan High Dam, which is huge, storing water, then releasing water is an issue of water management. So stored water, additionally stored water that, as I have explained, saving water from flooding, actually bringing new water by saving this water, as well as releasing more water for power generation on Ethiopian side, and also supporting drought mitigation in the downstream countries will immensely benefit the farmers, because at the end of the day, it is an issue of water management. It's not an issue of really consuming water through the GERD. But in future, there will be also time when Ethiopia further use its potential for agricultural development and industrialization and drinking water. So population grow everywhere, and Ethiopia is landlocked, It's not as it is said, it has a lot of water. No, Ethiopia is energy and water poor, because what you measure is not the physical availability, it's the economic water available for economic purpose. So in that measure, we are very, very poor. A landlocked country has no alternative from the sea and the ocean. Therefore, these are the situation in Ethiopia. Ethiopian people should, as usual, full-heartedly support. We are in the last mile of the negotiation, the construction, and soon we'll taste the fruit of our dam.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for your time. It's really a pleasure having you in our show.
Thank you very much as well.
Well, dear viewers, that wraps up what we have for you in this edition of the show. Join us another time for yet another edition of the show. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.